Hey you guys, we are here today at the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. We are here today with Todd, the owner of all of these incredible skateboards here on the wall. If you want to pan around behind you, Dan. All that stuff belongs to this man right here. This is Todd, and thank you for letting us come.
Hey, of course. Good to meet you, Gabe.
We're
Thank you,
super
guys.
excited. We've seen this place everywhere, and we've been wanting to check it out for a long time.
I appreciate you including me.
Yeah, so I just want you honestly to take us everywhere.
Okay, easy.
And,
I mean, in a nutshell, this is a place for skateboarding. That's what this place is for.
Okay.
Skateboarding and skateboarders. We pay tribute to the skateboarders, the pioneers, with the Hall of Fame, which is in the middle. First year of the Hall of Fame was four people: Bruce Logan, Tony Alva, Tony Hawk, and Danny Way. And it starts here. So if you come to visit, you can start here and work your way all the way through. For 10 years, we've been inducting people into the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. There's 100 inductees.
Wow.
So that's just kind of knocking that out in the middle. That's why we're the Skateboarding Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That part of it is just to pay respect and be appreciative for all the people that rode the terrible gear and stuck it out for it to be what it is today, where we can all enjoy skateboarding, being skateboarders. When you come into the museum, it starts with just a timeline. Okay. And the first skateboards, the oldest skateboards that you're asking about, it's a big debate. Most people agree that it's in the 1950s. But you'll say it to some salty dog, he's like, oh, in the 30s we were going down the pier. There's always somebody, and it's kind of cool. Baseball was invented by Abner Doubleday, but there's no person that invented skateboarding. Yeah. And there's no limit to the amount of different skateboards, because in the beginning they were homemade. And I would like to tell the story about when skateboarding started. You had to make it yourself. You couldn't go buy a skateboard. Imagine that now. Yeah, they're exactly out of old roller skates. And that's what would happen. You could make two boards. Like if you stole your sister's roller skates, you can make a board for you and your buddy, basically. So all these boards are true folk art. Every single board up on this wall here was made by hand by somebody. And you can see they're roller skates. This one was just straight cut in half. They cut it right in the middle. You can tell the front shape always had that oblong, in the back always had that little heel cup. So they're all there. Some are made with nails. Some are bent over. Some have clay wheels, which are these ones, and some are metal wheels. But most of them, if not all of them, aren't adjustable. You got what you got. Like, you're not going to tighten the trucks. There are some that were. Like this one actually has wooden wheels. But that's what the roller skate was. So a lot of them, most of them are not even adjustable. And over time, like here's an example, the rubber would just decay. Yeah. And it's like Day One Song style right here. Like that's what it reminds me of. Yeah, absolutely. And so maybe he's got something, but here's an old picture of some kids showing off the boards they made. This one has carpet on it, and it's just a funny picture. We have a lot of those pictures, and a lot of skateboarders hate on scooters. But the reality is they were first. Kids were riding these scooters before they were riding skateboards. We start in the museum with the scooters, and the scooters were the same thing. They were still roller skate nailed, in this case screwed to a board. And this is like a fence post. It looks like a fence post to me. It's just a trip. But I remember buying this board at the Rose Bowl, like at 5 in the morning. The guy was like half asleep. Give me 20 bucks for it.
So how long have you been collecting everything?
I mean, briefly, my story was in the 80s, I used to smoke. I got hypnotized, and the hypnotist said, what would you do if you had all this energy and money from not smoking? And I started collecting as a hobby. Okay. Started with bikes and skateboards, and this is my 30th year of collecting. So I've been a collector for 30 years. At that time, I shouldn't say nobody, but not many other people were collecting old boards. And they were truly easy to find back then. They're really hard now. People have realized how cool they are. They have such great art. A lot of them are related to surfing. A lot of them are even called sidewalk surfboards. Hawaiian surf. This one's sidewalk surf.
Red Devil rolling surf.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is made in Canada. So they weren't all American. There's also some Australian ones. Here's a really, really rare one, which is a Daniel Boone skateboard. It was from the TV show Daniel Boone.
The Hot Dogger, Dan.
Hot Dogger.
Wait, real quick, I do want to show the camera something. If you look over here, Dan, there's actually writing on this one. This one's from 1959.
There you go. That guy sent that to me. That actually was a donation.
And that's just like one written record of how old some of these skateboards are. So yeah, I was telling Todd earlier, I was like, a lot of the videos we do, the skate everything's you make it, we skate. We think they're new visionary ideas, but I mean, we were beaten to it 60 years ago. Yeah,
that's a long time ago. And it's funny, even there's some with carpet on there. I don't know if you guys have done that yet.
Yes, we have.
That's the thing about skateboarding is it's all those little things, the silliness and stuff that make it fun. Yeah, exactly. I think, when I was in school, we made them in wood shop. And that's why I was saying there's no end to the amount of boards, because a lot of people made them by homemade. Even after you could buy them, a lot of dads like, I'm not paying for that. I'll make you one in the garage. And my buddy always got stuck with his dad's homemade one. And he had to do it. It was his dad, but we always made fun of him. Because we had the Logan Erskies or whatever, which were the name brand. But what happens is from that era of the 50s to the 60s, When you get over to here, skateboarding changes a lot, and because of a few key inventions or things that were applied to the skateboard. Main one, and these are all my opinions, is a kicktail, right? If you look, no board over there had a kicktail, not one single board. Now here, some of them are starting to have little kicks to them, little kicktail. This one has a big kicktail. So that was a huge change that made skateboarding much more doable. Grip tape, another huge thing. Most of these boards had no grip tape until it got to the early 70s.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that's a cool one, plexiglass. And those are Cadillac wheels. So the urethane wheel is the other invention. The precision bearing is the other one. And then finally the kick nose. For modern skating, you need that nose. The precision bearing was key because before precision, you could hear the balls in there. But what would happen is inevitably one wheel would lose all the balls and it would end up like this. You couldn't ride this board anymore and it was hard to repair. So these boards with the loose ball bearings, a lot of them survived because of one wheel falling apart, all the bearings. Then precision bearing was invented by a guy named Tony Roderick, and the Road Rider 2 right here was the very first wheel with a precision bearing. And you can't hear it compared to these ones. You can hear the balls.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appear to spin fast, but as we all know, they're fast. So those were some of the main inventions that started around this time. And then another thing that changed about
Jack
here.
in the Box one.
That was a promotion. Rodney Allen Rippey was a Jack in the Box guy. And so what happened here now, the change, the invention, Kryptonics,
What?
It's P-Tex, and it's got a bumper. This is a green.
Wow.
This is a rubber bumper around the whole thing. And these were really unique boards. With Indies, these are the very first Indy trucks too. If you ride Indies now, you can see the difference, how the stage ones were just like pipes almost, you know? Those are rare boards.
Incredible. There's Quicksilver, Santa Cruz right there.
Those are actually made, that was Powell's first board, the Quicksilver. That's what those came from Powell, which now Powell Peralta. But what started to change here were graphics. Dogtown boards were like one of the very first boards with graphics.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you can kind of notice about that board compared to the ones around it was they started to become wider. They went from like boards like this, and then they started to become pigs. And the pigs are like fat and flat. And the king of all the pigs was that one right there, the Dogtown Bigfoot.
Oh, I see that.
See that? It was 12 inches long. And like your big friend always got that one. Like my buddy had it, he always had it. And another unique board of the 70s were the 8-wheelers. Those were actual boards.
We gotta try one of those.
Those were unique boards that you could actually buy at a store. And they're really rare to find. I got another one coming today. The real ones were called Sims Lonnie Toff. And I'm just getting it today. I did a trade with a guy.
Even look at the helmet.
Funny helmets, mannequins, and they're unique helmets. That was the Norcon one. This is the Norcon 2 they were called. I just put these mannequins for fun to show you. Pepsi was a huge sponsor back in the day. Vans, roller skates. When I was growing up, those were huge, popular.
This is awesome. What is that up there?
Those are skate cars. So the one down there, White Lightning.
Oh, Dan, that's a Kryptonic Star Trek right there.
That's a knee board, actually, and that was Tommy Ryan. The front has a lead weight in it. Both of those were driven by a guy named Tommy Ryan, who's in the Hall of Fame.
That's amazing.
And they're really unique. That was feet first, and that was knee board. That one over there has a parachute in it in the back that would come out the back. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records in 1976. White Lightning. That one, it was head first. That one was. Skate cars were cool.
Here's the vision board, Dan.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get into pigs, like fat and flat. My favorite boards are the ones like the Alva leopard skin up there. See the one with the leopard skin? Those are incredible boards. The Powell Vato Rat, which is right there, the orange one with the Vato Rats. As it gets more this way, the shape started to be funny and change. The classic Hosoi Hammerhead is a shape everyone knows. And also all the accessories came into play. Lappers, rails, nose guards. There's some that even have like rib, like that Skull Skates has like tailed rails on it. After it kind of got down to here, it started evolving into the boards now. Like you can see it's a little bit more, even though it's not really a symmetrical look to it, it's got a nose to it.
Yeah.
The flat boards of the 80s kind of turned into these boards of the 90s. Like the Slants Mountain's a good example. It got honed down, and now they almost boards look pretty similar now as it did in the 90s, like the early Shorties boards or whatever, the Muska. And we have a bunch of that stuff over there. We have a lot of Birdhouse and hookups boards in the 90s, some Flip and Baker. And also our library. If you guys wanted to make your way this way.
Absolutely.
One thing, so this is a new location, our former location. The library wasn't out where you could access it.
Okay.
Like you had to go into our vault, so to speak. A lot of times people say, oh, my brother was in Skateboarder magazine, 1977. I want to see that picture.
Yeah, so you can look for it.
I can grab it every time I pull it out.
Oh, sick.
For example, from right here, here's the last Transworld with Lance Mountain. It just came out, the very last one. Issue 397. All other 396 issues are this whole row. This is the complete set of Transworld, just for example. But we also have a lot of obscure magazines, really unique, weird ones. I don't know, like these are the old skateboarders that people mostly want to see from the 70s. People have this, they're really thick. Back in the day, this was like the Bible of skateboarding. First Transworld is up there in a frame, which is, you guys know who that is from First Transworld? Can you tell just by looking at the picture? Steve Caballero. He's on the cover of the very first Transworld, which was 1983, same year I graduated high school. Anyway, so this is our library. We have books, these are all book collection. I'll take you back into the, just kind of back into the inner sanctum, so to speak. So so in here, this is our vault. So in here is, we're kind of just moving in. So I'm sorting out and organizing everything. These are some of the contraptions I pulled for you guys. And you may ask me, this is the dumbest skateboard I've ever seen in my life. It's a skateboard, but in the middle, it's got a swivel thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what would be the point of that? Like, that is about the dumbest board ever. This is something weird. I don't know the point of this one. This is the Manta Force, it's called, what I was telling you about. And you could lock it or unlock it. The wheels started to fall apart, though. But so you could click it and it wouldn't move. I think this pen either went in or out or something. But it's still stupid. This is the Heat. The Heat is like a definite like leg breaker.
Bro,
like
we have one of these.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah, we do.
So the Heat, I don't know, just some of the silly ones. These are funny. What in the hell is the point of this thing?
What is this? That's great.
Look at this. Hey guys, what's going on?
So yeah, those are just some of the silly ones. I just knew you guys like to experiment with funny stuff. But we do have a whole pile of all these are our extras or doubles or whatever.
Wow.
From the 60s. This is all full of clothing. I don't know, you guys know Tony Alva, right? I know you're younger.
Yeah.
But Tony Alva, so back in the 80s, he had his own line of clothing and it was super unique. Kids would actually pros would wear this stuff like in contests. So we have a bunch of weird clothing. These are some shoes that were Mike Carroll's back in the day, pull them out of the trash can.
We have one of these, Dan.
That's a freeformer.
Yep.
You know what's good about the freeformers? You could adjust the trucks. It's actually a pretty good idea, I think. Like you could change the placement of the truck.
Yeah.
I meant to pull these out. I didn't get a chance, but I have these boards from the Soviet Union that are really unique, but they're just too buried in there to pull them out. Yeah, I got a Superman and Spider-Man pogo stick.
Oh, the pogo stick.
Yeah. Yeah, those are legit. Do you guys ever seen grass skis? These are called grass skis.
What?
And you use ski boots, like regular ski boots to lock you in, and they use poles, and you ski down freaking grass hills. There's a whole book, I have a book in the library called Grass Skiing. And it's dudes like, catching air, they're incredible.
Just when you thought we were out of ideas.
There's a land ski. The land ski is, I saw it somewhere. Oh, right here, they're called road skis. You put a ski boot on each thing, and they'll only roll forward. So when you try to pull back, it propels you. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like cross-country skiing. It was a training exercise. And the other one, the Techno ski, have you guys seen that one? I have one of those somewhere. It's like a yellow metal wing. They're terrible. Yes, yeah, pull that thing out of there. It's made out of magnesium. And it was another thing where you'd stand on it like parallel. And you use poles. You stand on it.
It looks like a
plates.
race car.
Have these little plates for grinding, like little.
Can I stand on it?
Yeah, go for it. You can ride
This is absolutely incredible.
And you lean, yeah. There you go.
Oh, wow!
And you had poles.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get down on this thing.
We have some unique stuff in here. Really, this is a downhill, Dave Dilberg downhill board. Like
That is so sick.
And you had to get the sticker, like they would approve your equipment. You guys know what Z-Flex boards are? Those fiberglass boards? So this is the mold they used to make one of the models, the Jimmy Puma model. Here's what the boards look like that came out of it.
Oh, that is awesome.
We've seen Z-Flexes, we've skated.
This is the mold though that they used to make the board, like the actual mold. It's really rare. Like they only had the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And big teams back in the day had jerseys and helmets. I don't know if you guys remember. Like Mattel was a toy company that made these boards called Magnums. So they had a jersey and the helmet, the matching helmet. It was pretty serious. And I'm just unpacking, so a lot of the good stuff is still in these boxes. This thing is a mural. There's this Tony Hawk video game, Thug, Tony Hawk Underground. And this is a huge mural. It's like 40 sheets. And it makes up a giant photo of LA and like dudes skating like the Hollywood Bowl. It's incredible. And like it's a giant wall it would take to fill it. But this whole thing makes a really incredible mural. And all this stuff's full of good stuff though. Like here's one of those giant Vans, huge. This is Lance Mountain's second place trophy from the pool party, 2007. So Lance is in the Hall of Fame, and recently when he was moving, he donated a lot of his stuff, trophies and stuff. There's all kinds of weird stuff. This is a bear from Spain, Rick Howard Tech Deck, yeah, that's funny stuff. This is so rare. This is a teak Brad Logan Erskine brand new model. All this stuff is really, really hard to get. Here's a Z-Flex J Adams model. Brand new. So back in the day when you bought a skateboard, the shop had to drill it for you. Like, you know, now you never would drill. The shop set it down, they had a little thing, and they were the ones that drilled your board for you at the shop. You guys may or may not know the very first shop in the world to carry a skateboard was called Valsurf.
Yep.
They're out in North Hollywood. This is a beautiful piece of wood. So anyway, it's just sort of my collection. Some of this stuff's newer stuff. Like, some of this stuff is just weird stuff, man. All these boxes are full of stuff. These were called Turner summer skis. They were slalom boards. They were set up like this. This one doesn't have a graphic. They're amazing. Anyway, let's kind of look at the vault. Some of the birdhouse boards. I don't know. Thanks for checking it out. That's a good Reynolds, yeah. That's a good one. I'll show you. I have some original art for that stuff. I have some original art from some of the original birdhouse boards. I'll show you in my office next door. Yeah, like when they make a board, there's one piece of art that's created to make the board, and then they add all the color to it and the separation. It's different now, I think, but back in the day, that's how they would use it to do the silk screening. And I've been collecting this artwork, which is back in here. See right here where, like, here's the Reynolds one. Like, there's the board, and then this is the original art that they used to create the board. And there's I have a few other ones too. There's a Jeremy Klein up there too.
What? That one's so good.
Some unique stuff. This is my office. Just something more unique stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the tour. I mean, there's a lot more if you really got into it, like the VHS tapes and all that stuff. There's a lot more stuff. But
oh, look at Dougie's right here. Oh, there's two. Oh, okay, snap. Bye. Here's another one too. Well, thank you so much for giving us the tour of the place.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you guys.
It's unbelievable.
Appreciate you coming. Yeah, we're like you can't deny that we're like into skateboarding. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely not.
This isn't like contrived. Like, this is like true passion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just came from a love, from something that I've just been loving to do my whole life. 50 years I've been skateboarding. That's a long time. So thank you guys.
And for those of you guys watching, I hope this is sort of a lesson to you that skateboarding can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be super serious. Go out there, oh, I have to land this trick and I don't want to talk to anyone. Just go out there and have a good time and make with it what you will. It's up to you. You can make skateboarding whatever you want it to be. Just have a good time, and that's all that matters. This was absolutely unbelievable. I hope you guys learned a lot today about the history of skateboarding. My mind is just with ideas right now. But this place is amazing. If you guys are in the Simi Valley area, definitely come here to the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. Check it out. Check out all the history for yourselves, and I think you guys will learn something. Okay, and real quick before this video ends, I'm gonna hand you this mic, if you can take this from me. And real quick before this video ends, the Skateboarding Hall of Fame does do skate lessons with my boy Doug Dustels over here. He is the main instructor, I'm hearing? Okay. So if you guys want a lesson from Doug, or you just want to learn how to skateboard in general, you can come in here, sign up for lessons, and that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So definitely come check it out. So there's some videos right there. Go ahead and check them out. Subscribe, like, leave a comment below. And you guys, if you don't want to learn how to skateboard after this video, I don't know how we're going to get you to start skateboarding, but go to brailleskateboarding.com, check out Skateboarding Made Simple, because right now is your time. 2019, 2020, whenever you're watching this. This is for you guys.